God bless God. I was wrapped by this robe that felt like warm flannel sheets right out of the dryer. God just wrapped me and rocked me and said to me, I can feel the breath on my neck, and said to me, you're not alone. It'll be okay. And I felt this weight go from my ankles, rise up over my head and out of me. Now, right after that moment, we stood up to sing. My vocal range is one note, two notes, right? Those of you who are musicians will understand this. C flat and B, right? I don't really sing, I just kind of ponder the words. I stood up, I belted out that song. I sang from the top of my lungs, I didn't care. And then I just cried. I just cried and cried and cried, and I went, oh my God, what did God just do? Why did I started to think, why did I get to have this experience? Why me? How many people would love to have that opportunity to have God touch them and rock them and hold them and tell them it's going to be okay? Well, I'm still working with kids who are faced with drugs and alcohol, other kinds of abuse, but through the district level, I do this very much behind the scenes. But at the district level, I can impact 12,000 kids.
That's good.
In a school, I was able to help impact hundreds. Either way, it's important. So my job, one of many things I do, I oversee federal and state programs for struggling learners, which may or may not include low-income students, English language learners, and also the homeless program. In Marysville, we usually have about 160 homeless children we know of in our district. There is something federal called the McKinney-Vento Act. This act makes it so that if a child's family moves from district to district or school to school, we still are able to transport them to make sure that they stay in the same school if the family wants or the guardian wants, so the child isn't having to move again and again and again and again. One of my roles is to make sure that happens quickly, that the communication goes from the family or the guardian or the courts to the counselor. That communication comes to my office, and I intake. Most of them are approved, they qualify, and then I send communication off to food services and transportation. So I was going to share with you, I'm going to replace the name of the child, student, with children. I'm going to just share with you a few scenarios. And the reason why I'm going to share this is that, I'm going to back up for a minute. Your Jubilee gives families, whether they're homeless families, maybe it's a brief moment in their lives where everything just came crashing down and they had this need and everything was going great before that. It gives them something that they don't have to buy, something that their kids can have, their school supplies that are part of that kid's life to be like the other kids. New crayons, wow. I don't have to have broken old ones. Paper, I get paper just like the other kids. Pencil, glue, all these things. I also oversee another benevolence funds, it's called, from community donations. So when people contact me, counselors contact me or others, and they're in a crisis situation, they're not tied to federal dollars. I can do a whole lot of things that churches and community members and others say, you know what, you don't have to give us the detail of everything that's going on here and track it and have the auditors come and check to make sure every penny spent to the cent in just the right way. Just give to this child. Give what they need. Give this family what they need. I'm not here to judge this. That gives incredible freedom for me to be able to do that. Because you are taking care of the school supply part of that, that makes it so this other money can help with so many other kinds of needs. So together, we're really helping to keep some sense of stability in the lives of these children and families. So I thank you for that. It's phenomenal. This Jubilee, it's phenomenal, the kind of support from that. Okay, so here are some examples, some stories. House fire, children living with an aunt in the same property as the home that burnt down. We had about 5 children in that scenario. Upon the untimely death of this child's mother, the family was shortly rendered homeless, and a family at the particular address that came to our office agreed to take the father and the child in. Kids are in transitional housing, they're living with relatives. Family was recently in a car accident and they have no way to transport their kids to school. Casino has allowed them to keep the trailer in the parking lot temporarily, but they are unsure how long this will continue. This is 4 different kids. 5th one, he's currently couch surfing, new place each night. This is so common, there's actually a word for it, couch surfing. This is where kids cannot find a stable place to live, and they go from home to home to home, daily, weekly, ideally even a month for these kids. If they can be in a home for a month, that would be phenomenal. Here's another one. Many living in this situation, 12 to 15, sleeping in a camper trailer in someone's driveway. Another family living in an emergency shelter. Mother wants the kids to stay in their neighborhood schools. Mother has terminal cancer, is living on the street. Child has no home, called her aunt to get help. This was a child about 8th grade, advocating for herself. Mother's extremely ill, needing to connect with the counselor and say, hey, I need some help. I gotta have a place to live, and I need to have a place and a way to get to school. Another child's mother and grandmother passed away last spring, both a surprise. Lost her mother, lived with her grandmother, lost her grandmother. She's living with a friend, but that no longer was an option for that child. Homeless. Mothers sought a safe zone in a hotel prior to placement in a shelter for domestic violence. We get quite a few kids with that. Another one, parents were sent to jail. The state took custody of the children and placed them in a particular location. It goes on, you guys. I mean, 160, some of these stories, very much the same. We've got a lot of kids hurting. We got a lot of families hurting. The basic needs that are met through agencies, the basic school needs that are met through the Jubilee are such a relief to these families. You don't have the opportunity to see their tears, to hear their thanks, to feel their hugs. But I want to send that to you, knowing that you make an incredible impact on these lives of these children. So amen. Thank you.